Now, the chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission, Professor Mahmood Yakubu, says the commission will address the challenges of prompt opening of polls ahead of the Ondo elections. Now, particularly the polling units and effective management of results in the November 16 governorship election in Ondo State. Now, the INEC chairman spoke with reporters in Akure shortly after arriving, when he, of course, arrived for a 3-day assessment visit ahead of next week elections. Now, joining me in the studio to discuss this is Kunle Ajayi, is Ondo State Governorship candidate for the African Action Congress. Kunle, thank you for your time. We also have Olufemi Lawson, the SSA to the Ondo State Governor. Olufemi Lawson, thank you also for joining virtually. Gentlemen, you're welcome to the program. Now, great. Let me start with you, Kunle Ajayi. I mean, you are the gubernatorial candidate for the African Action Congress. So far, how would you describe the journey, to, of course, the top job in the state?
It's a journey of lessons, and it's the typicality to show us that the Nigerian electoral barricade is getting as worse as ever. Are you insinuating you are not comfortable with the current arrangements ahead of the polls? Of course. From the beginning, we have raised this. We have raised it with INEC severally. We have raised it openly in our press statements, in our actions. We have let the whole world know that there is no equality in terms of the chances before these electoral campaigns, on the use of, before INEC, even on in the front of journalists. At the debates, we have a situation where, thus far, we have been going to all of the radio stations, television stations, moving around, consulting all over the state. And you have people competing with us who have not addressed, in terms of addressed the public for once. And this person is got qualified to become part of the debate. Okay, I mean, we'll get into specifics when it comes to the areas of reservation or concerns, that of course you are not comfortable with. But let me bring in Olufemi Lawson into the conversation right now. Now, Femi, I know that everything right now is in top gear. Recently, the candidate of the All Progressive Congress did partake in a governorship debate, and a lot was said. I would like to ask you directly, looking at the level of preparedness ahead of the polls, are you comfortable with what is already on ground, particularly put together by the umpire, INEC?
Thank you for having me, Dapo, and let me also appreciate New Central for the sustained conversation around this Ondo Governorship election. Moving forward, for INEC, we've often challenged INEC to improve on the progress, whatever it is, made at every election, so that we can have better elections in Nigeria. I just listened to your intro that even in the best of democracy, that we have always presumed that is the United States election holding today. We've seen, panic alarms being raised. We've seen, security alarms being raised around the United States presidential election. That tells you that nowhere in the world can we have a perfect election if the United States is raising panic alarms, around its presidential election that has been a model for democracy. But in those states, we are doing something very different this time around. INEC, on its part, has been playing its role. Even I'm not a spokesperson for INEC, but so far, judging from the opinion of stakeholders, the media, the civil society, the political parties that are participating in this election, INEC has been demonstrating its preparedness, not only to ensure that we have a free and fair election, but also to ensure that our people are able to cast their ballot on November 16th. But for us, we strongly want to appreciate the preparation of INEC, because as I speak, virtually, a good number of our people who registered in the continuous voters registration exercise ahead of this election have been able to pick up their PVC, people who transfer their voting card, voters' card, have been able to pick their cards. So INEC on this part is playing its role. But on the part of the political parties, I would not say enough has been done, except for the governing party in the states, the All Progressives Congress, where, of course, the party and the incumbent administration in the state, led by Governor Loki has taken as a priority the need for Ondo State to have a peaceful election. And for anyone who has followed the history of our state as far as election is concerned, you agree with me that this is the first time ever in our history that election is about 13 days in Ondo State, or 12 days in Ondo State, and everywhere on the streets of Ondo State looks so calm. Every campaign looks like Fonte and Carnival, and there is no tension whatsoever. And that is a credit that must be given to Governor Edatuwa for his commitment to peace towards this election.
All right. Let me come back to the studio, to Kunle. Now, Kunle, you said you have strong reservations. And right now we are seeing Femi Lawson saying that INEC is, sort of done well in prepping the state ahead of the polls. I would like you to be more specific as to some of the challenges you, as a candidate in the race, have faced and is still facing, from campaigns, even to debates, as far as if there are other issues. So please be specific.
First and foremost, I'm happy that the person representing the governor here, Olufemi Lawson, is my friend, is my comrade, Senior Keda. And I think he's economical with the truth. Because if he talks about peace, maybe he didn't witness at the Dome when we had the Peace and Security Summit. It was live on Channels TV. And I spoke there on the fact that you can't talk about peace when you have about over 26,000 out of school children in Ondo State. We have a situation today, the poverty level in Ondo State is all-time high in the history of that state. At this time, you can't talk about peace where you have secondary schools having their fees massively increased. You have a situation today where you have schools like Rufus Giwa Polytechnic that their student rate is drastically reduced. And you have a situation where lecturers are here to get
Are you saying that the education sector in Ondo State is in shambles? Is that what you're saying?
A serious one. And I know that Keda knows himself. And, when we talk about peace, immediately I spoke at the Dome, at the Peace and Security Summit, while the governor was still at the Dome and before I came out. The governor's talks accosted me and attacked me. You get it?
You were attacked?
Yes.
By the governor's talks?
Yes. And there are clips there. So it's a public thing. We've already...
Why did they attack you?
They said because I had the courage to speak against the governor. Because I said that the governor used 775 million to repair a fence, rebuilding a fence that is not more than this place or that place, at Alagbaka Government House fence. 775 million.
775 million.
And that's the governor that said at the debate that he's not ready to invest in agriculture. And, a fence that is not up to 500,000 or a million, you used 775 million. So I raised it publicly there. And
you have evidence to this?
Yes. In fact, it was Ali, the PRP candidate, who had a very big team, because we felt that, well, it's the police summit and INEC and police summit. So we felt that there would be security. But, before we said it, the cock had crowed and the witch, you get it, had already come up to start testification. And immediately, you find a situation where his talks came, they were shouting, we will attack you, we do that. And with the attempted attack, we were able to move out. So if somebody is talking about security, and you have a situation where even some other opposition parties that even have money than us, we are not able to use venues, we are not able to use parks, there have been several complaints. So you can't be talking about peace. What
reasons did they give? Were you able to get secure venue for some of your campaigns? Do you have your flyers? Were you able to, was it a level playing field?
Like at Owo, we made about 2-3 attempts at using parks at Owo, and people came out to say, no, the government has said, except it's an APC. You get it? And we thought that maybe because we weren't rich, like the PDP. But just about a day or two after, the PDP took complaint in Akure, saying they tried to use a park, and at the end of the day, the government said it has been booked. So I'm sure, very, very sure that Femi Lawson knows seriously about that. So when you talk about peace of the graveyard, that's what he's talking about. So
peace of the graveyard.
That's what he's talking about. Peace where no other person is allowed to speak. You know, a situation where you have people from the governor's side threatening us, calling my parents, and all of that.
So your life is threatened?
Yes. And they openly said it, the thugs of the government, led by Eniba, who is the chair of the NURTW in Akure. You know, they worked seriously with the government. You know, this thing started from the NBAD governance protest period, where the government didn't want anybody to raise any eyebrow. And this is the same government that never shared palliatives. Of all the Southwest governments, Ondo State government didn't. All the palliative they got from the federal government, they didn't share. Now it has been rebagged. You get it?
These are
they want to use it to rig elections. They have rebagged that palliative to rig elections. So if anybody is telling you that there is peace anywhere, it's a piece of the government.
I think I should bring in Olufemi Lawson to, if at all, react to some of this pretty strong allegations raised here by Kunle Ajayi.
Thank you, Dapo. You know, Kunle Ajayi, like he said, is my comrade, a long-standing one for that matter, and I'm happy that the media, particularly your station, have followed the political situation in Ondo State. Even at the peak of provocation, where the governor of Ondo State, Governor Yakubu, should have, resorted to violence. Every one of us were here when he was provoked, even his right trampled upon, denied access to his constitutional rights, and he was never provoked enough to, resort to violence. Let me also say that the governor have no talks, because I heard him saying the governor's talks. The governor have no talks, and except for people who are not here in Ondo State. And for anyone, including Wise Man, that's Kunle Ajayi, who has been here, part of our election since 2003, when Dr. Olusegun contested against then Governor Adebayo Adefarati, when 2007, when Dr. Olusegun contested against Dr. Olusegun Agagu, and subsequent elections. I want to restate that this is the first time in our recent history. The election is about 12 days in Ondo State, and it looks like there's not going to be an election. It is not only because we have very weak candidates or popular candidates from other political parties, including the AAC, where my comrade is vying. It also signifies the fact that we have a leadership in Ondo State that believes election is not war. Why would Governor Ajayi, require the service of thugs or whatever you call them?
So who could have been the people that he claimed beat him or harassed him?
It is a fact that today, Governor Ajayi is not only the most popular candidate in this election. He's perhaps the most popular politician, as far as Ondo State is concerned today. So I need to be told where in these thugs, or whoever, whatever you want to call it, to win election. Now, secondly, these are political parties, including the AAC, that are not ready for this election, that do not have capacity, that do not have members, but only resort to the social media and media platform to accuse the government of not giving them the platform to make use of facilities or to campaign. The governor has not restricted anybody from campaigning. We have seen the few serious political parties, embarking on their campaign peacefully. There has not been incidences of attack. And let me tell you this: one of the things that will be spoken about this election after November 16 is the fact that in Ondo State we had an election without bloodshed, we had an election without violence, and this cannot just be attributed to the role of INEC or security agencies, but leadership that has been demonstrated by Governor Yakubu. For him, it's about the people and the choice of the people, and if you are working with him or you are one of his campaigners, he will tell you in clear time that he should allow the people to decide, because he's confident about his popularity and his acceptability among the people of Ondo State. All right,
Olufemi Lawson, I will give you the right of response. Kunle Ajayi, I know you want to say a few things, but we need to go on a quick commercial break. When we return, we'll definitely pick up. Do stay with us. Many thanks for staying with us. This is still Politics HQ on News Central Television, and we are looking at matters arising ahead of the Ondo State Guber polls. Well, before we went on that break, of course, Akule Ajayi wanted to respond to some of the things Olufemi Lawson did say. Let me just do a bit of recap. He said that, number one, there are no restrictions for other parties to use venues or spaces to campaign. And then he also said that your party seems to be more, effective or more loud on social media than in real life.
Well, first and foremost, I think that Femi Lawson himself, while he was saying it, he was smiling, from this place. The kind of people who say, he knows himself that he's only packaging shit, because we started campaign even before this government. This government started its campaign just about a month ago, and I can bet it with you, of all the, I've witnessed rallies in Ondo State since 1999. It is the government that goes to all of the towns, all of the villages and everywhere to at least tell the people this is what we want to do. He's talking about a government that is democratic, that is ready to talk to people. And this government has not addressed the local radio station ever in the history of Ondo State, since except that channel TV, where they have done the questioning, they have given him question, and he has done a lot of rehearsals. He has never addressed a live television in Ondo State, thus far.
Do you feel that
he said that we didn't campaign? When I went, even before they started their campaign, we started our campaign on campuses. I was at INEC College of Education. We were at Adekunle Ajase Akunba. 2 days after we campaigned at Adekunle Ajase Akunba Akoko, where students brought us to speak. He was also built to speak there, Olufemi Lawson, but they couldn't come because they didn't want a live debate where people would be there massively at the student level. And this is where I spoke. You could see it, and they attacked me after at the dope. So when we spoke at Akunba, after speaking at Akunba, 2 days after, the governor was in Akunba, and students said, oh, a candidate came 2 days ago. We want you to also come and address us. What will you do about education? The governor there and there ordered the DSS to shoot outside. And
sorry, you said the governor?
The governor ordered the DSS to shoot outside.
Governor
Nokia Aidatiwa. He ordered the DSS, yes, to shoot outside.
Who exactly?
Students, and scare them off at the Adekunle Ajase University Akunba Akoko. You can ask anybody, it's online. Even National Association of Nigerian Students, Ondo State JCC, issued statements about 2, 3, 4 times over that. After that, they got the student union leaders beating blue, black for daring to even ask the governor to come and address students. So a governor that can't address students and you are saying it's democratic. The governor is not popular. Ever in the history of Ondo State, if you look at governorship debates, it's always very popular. But the last governorship debate is one of the most unpopular ever in the history of Ondo State. Go ask anybody. And that is why even the interviews we did yesterday morning at the Crest of Fame was even more popular than the governorship debate, because if you look at the governorship debate, we had just about 28 retweets on the TV that they went to. It was like a very hollow debate, very shallow debate. You need to ask, go and check it again. Nobody is recapping it. In fact, at the end of the day, the two parties, after the British appearance, went to be saying, I'm the one that won on this, you are the one that won on this. People were saying what both of you have been saying bad at us, because you are not the leading candidates. So you can't claim to say you are the best politician in the state where, and you, close to the election, have been getting government funds, you get it to rig the election. You used 31 billion naira to renovate, you claim that you want to use 31 billion naira to renovate the judicial complex. And that is to rig elections. You were giving money for palliatives. You were giving 20 trucks of loads of bags of rice for palliatives. And you are rebagging it for election. And you claim you are popular. You are not a popular governor. You are not a popular governor when all of the roads in Ondo State are very bad. Do you claim that it's a federal government road? But these roads have been maintained for a very long time. You have an obligation to the state. Since this governor had been there for over 1 year, the governor have taken over 132 billion naira as allocation from the federal government. This same government have not done anything in terms of project.
So you are saying the roads in Ondo State,
it's so bad. Everybody knows that.
You also talked about the education sector.
Education in Ondo State is worse. In fact,
how about healthcare?
Adekunle Ajase University, I'll go to that. Adekunle Ajase University, Akunba Akoko, they are about increasing their school fees. They are now gaslighting the student union to come open to say it's a lie. And if you go to the portal of AAU, it's about 200,000 naira. And that's about 200% increment. You can ask my brother here, Olufemi Lawson, that he should tell us what the school fees of Imade College, which is one of the Ionian colleges in Ondo State, what is their school fees? What is the increment level that the government had done there? You can ask him that since the government have been there for over 1 year, what major project have we seen except rebuilding the fence of Government House. That is the only project
I think let me bring in
healthcare.
Okay.
Healthcare.
Yeah.
There used to be, you know, when Mimiko was governor of Ondo State, he did some things on healthcare. That somehow World Bank even appreciated it. Go to Mother and Child Hospital today. It's more expensive than even private hospitals, and it's a shadow of itself.
So on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the highest.
The teaching hospital in Ondo State is not working. So if they take you like this, I just pray you don't get sick and you are in Ondo State, and you are taken to the teaching hospital, you would reject it even yourself from the gate. They take people to Federal Medical Center. So there is nothing like healthcare as it is today in Ondo State. So as far as I'm concerned, you can't talk about a politician being popular when he's not popular with the people. This same government have been taking 20,000 naira from the palliative pay, 35,000 naira palliative pay that government is supposed to be paying workers since June for the past 5 months. So the government is owing workers over 20,000 naira for the past 5 months. This same government lied to workers that we are going to be paying 70,000 minimum wage. Immediately, the negotiation happened. And do you know that 5 times the government has repromised and repromised?
Okay,
you know what?
Kule, let me leave you for a moment. Let me bring in Olufemi Lawson. Let me give him a right, of response here. Femi, a lot of weighty allegations against your principal here. They said that he ordered students, the DSS, to shoot at students. And he also talked about a lot of decay, particularly in education, in health, and infrastructure. He said the only achievement of your principal is building a fence in the government house.
Yes.
Your response?
Let me sincerely, sympathize with my comrade, wise man, because he seems to be lost in the, pursuit of this governorship ambition under the party that may not even have a presence in its own local community than, accepting the reality. The reality is that a governor who, after so many years of neglect, came and, began to pay bursary and scholarship to students, all students of Ondo State origin, not even in Ondo State, anywhere they are schooling in Nigeria, would not have, at no time did the governor order the shooting of students anywhere in Ondo State. Secondly, this government is not over 1 year in office. Because we must be very careful about some of these statistics. This government is even less than 11 months in office, just a bit over 10 months, since assuming office. And one of the cardinal principles of the administration of Governor Loke Aiyedatiwa is the fact that we are not going to abandon, the projects of his predecessor, the ongoing policies of his predecessor, because he became governor, succeeding the late Governor Akure. The governor has been focused mainly on completing some of those outstanding projects, and when you talk about those states, in the last 10 months, except anyone who has not been here, the people of Ondo State will tell you that there's a clear-cut difference between how we were moving before the last 10 months and now. Now, why is there going to be an election, or why is even coming to contest just like every other candidate? Is because we want an improvement on the existing infrastructure, on the existing policies, on the existing development of our state. No state is at Eldorado yet. It is a truth that we require more infrastructure in our healthcare sector, in our education sector. But the truth is that no government in 10 months has done more than what Governor Aiyedatiwa is doing. And I want to go back to the question of peace and security. Today, in 2003, 2007, I'm very sure that candidates like wise men would not be on the campus of Adekunle Ajasin University. And you see, I need to also remind wise man that this is not a student election. Because I've listened to him, saying that he has gone to the polytechnic, to the university to campaign. The governor has met stakeholders within the academic sector on a number of times, more than he can ever imagine. But to win an election in Ondo State, because governing Ondo State is not going to be about Akure or the polytechnic alone. He has to go back to the people, to the streets, to the rural people, to the artisans, to the drivers, to the market women. It's beyond. It's not a student union election.
Okay, but what of the allegation? What of the allegation of rebagging palliatives?
Please ask, that is only the imagination of wise man. The truth is that it is on record, and I have also watched on several platforms, including yours, when Ondo State, Ondo State did not just even distribute palliative. The manner a lot of government in Nigeria did. What we did was to engage stakeholders, that is the religious organizations, the artisan groups, the transport union, the teachers cooperative, the labor unions in the distribution. Ondo State government did not directly give palliative to citizens. It used the community-based organizations, the artisan groups, the various cooperative units to distribute it in a very prudent and transparent manner. And even when we discovered that a lot of people were trying to shortchange those that should be the direct beneficiaries, amounts were raised on such perpetrators, and it is on record. So not because wise man has been busy, on campuses, campaigning, he did not know that on the street, the people of Ondo State were actually receiving these palliatives. And for Ondo State in election, we are not distributing rice or money. It is about the popularity of Governor Edatiwa, and it's the
so you are saying that in Ondo State's election currently there's no form of vote buying, whether in terms of cash, distributing materials. There's a popular saying in the state. I remember bringing in the PDP candidate and said something about collecting money to make soup. Digbo Kosebe. So nothing like that.
That's what the governor is waiting for.
Nothing like that.
No. For us, there's nothing like that.
And you need to ask Femi Lonson that which project of Governor Akure has Ayedatiwa completed?
It is not a candidate.
The Oda Road project.
Please, gentlemen, please, let's allow Olufemi Lawson land, and then of course we'll take your explanation.
You see, if you look at the circumstances around the emergence of Dr. Ayedatiwa into this position today, and if you look at how this government in the last 10 months have become so acceptable to the people, to the extent that, even to the school children, you see visuals from the campaign, where school children, where community leaders, where women, cups of mom, are those the people you want to go and give cups of rice? These people have seen, the candidature of Governor Edatiwa as a fait accompli for them, because he is a candidate of choice. He is not only popular, he is a candidate that is determined and very close to the people. So why would how many cups of rice you want to give the people? And let me tell you what, it is even insulting for anybody to say our people this time around will vote on basis of a cup of rice. We are more sophisticated politically than people who are bought, with cups of rice in Ondo State.
All right, Olufemi Lawson, thank you for that. Let me give Kunle Ajayi, a right of response on this. Particularly, Kunle, Femi said that you seem to forget that this is a governorship election and not a student union affair.
Femi Lawson is only insulting his own history, because he wouldn't have been an essay to Ayedatiwa if it's not for his student movement history. So for me, I take that as a compliment, because it's an insult to his own history. You don't know anybody that is Olufemi Lawson if not for the student movement. It is his history in the student movement and in the NGO community that made the governor to make him an essay. And if he and Lucky Ayedatiwa feels that I'm a student activist, where was he, Femi Lawson? Where was Lucky Ayedatiwa when the Akure Dolu hegemony was fighting Lucky Ayedatiwa not to become governor? We led the battle. We used our student movement power, capacity, to fight the Akure Dolu hegemony and brought in Lucky Ayedatiwa to become governor constitutionally in Ondo State. After that, let me tell Lawson that we have campaigned on the streets, we have campaigned in the villages, in my own town, everywhere, and all the people that are saying it is Lucky Ayedatiwa governor that is forcing primary school teachers to be bringing students, puppies, on the streets under the heat of the sun, insulting the parents and all the rest, because it's embarrassing. You force primary school students to come on the streets of the same governor that there is no free functional primary education in Ondo State, the same governor that there is no free functional secondary education in Ondo State. You are forcing puppies. You need to go and check the videos. Many of those puppies are even being forced to dance. Go and dance, go and dance. Go and check all of the videos. So what Femi Lonson is saying is that the 31 billion naira that they are using, they are lying that they are using to rebuild the judicial complex where there is Olua Glass Company, Okchupa Epam POSC is there, Ifon Ceramic is there, a lot of other industries are there. This, when I accused the governor, Femi Lonson was when I accused the governor that he used 75 million to do defend. The governor said it went through Procurement Act. And you ask yourself, how can a governor say that because something passed through Procurement Act, you are now able to use 775 million? Are you doing a fence around the whole of Akure? He's saying that this same governor is completing the projects of Akure Dolu. You know, to be fair to Akure Dolu's history, he really never had projects plenty. So if Ayedatwa is completing projects of somebody who didn't really have projects, it's embarrassing in the first place. Then the second thing is that go and even look at the little projects. The other road project today, where is it? Ask Lonson, have they completed it? Quit other projects. Let them come. It's not about motivational speaking. You can't be coming to talk about the rebuilding Ondo State, and you are using motivational speech. Oh, wow. No, give us facts, figures. So where are the projects? You are not said to the governor. Where are the projects that Ayedatwa has completed?
I'm still going to give Olufemi Lawson a right to respond on this, but I'm still going to stay with you. Kunle Ajayi, you've really hit hard on the governor, saying that, I mean, what is your track record? Yes. I also want to ask you, Kunle, what is your track record?
I've been a leader in human rights, a leader. He said it himself in the student movement, and I'm happy that he's also proud that I've carried on the legacy that he had abandoned and a lot of other people. And we keep rebuilding our people. Look, I'll give you a classical example. When there was no electricity in Ondo South, for 15 years, our Ondo South, Keda is also from that place, from Irele local government, Olufemi Lonson. His own area didn't have electricity for 15 years. And Keda and his friends that are in government today were not even responsible to come out to say, oh, let's fight. In fact, the governor then was in NDDC. The former deputy governor, Ayebola Ajayi from the PDP, he was deputy governor. On August 1st, 2018, I led a mass action to make sure that we return electricity to that place. And it is that legacy that have led to getting back electricity to that place. Unfortunately, where we fought and we didn't come out to say, opportunism to say we're the one that did it and all the rest. Lucky Ayedatwa as governor of that state. There is no electricity in the whole of Ondo South. When we fought to the extent that BEDC had to get a new person, Deolu Jose, and they have restored some electricity, do you believe that instead of the government, the current governor that is my brother Femi Lonson is working under, instead of the governor to help the people to get back to the electricity, to help them to get our poles, to help them to get wire and all the rest. Now, do you know that to get wire in Okitupa, in Irele, where Lonson is from, in Obenla, where the governor is from, in Kiribo, where Ayebola Ajayi is from, to get poles, to get wire, it is individuals that look for money, that go to borrow money. In fact, and do you know the worst part? Instead of the government to come to their aids, to help them to get poles, to help them to refix their lights, once the BEDC is now producing that light and work in collaboration, what the governor is doing is selling meter. Governor Femi Lonson, 8 meter. This brought my brother. His governor is selling meter all over the state.
Wow.
At
this point, I need to give Femi Lawson a right of response on this one. He said your principal is selling meter to the residents of Ondo State. We need to go on a quick commercial break. When we return, we'll definitely hear what you have to say to that.